you dedicate the book to the only thing I ever knew I wanted to be, and your family, and that thing. Spoiler alert: is to be a father. Why is that the only thing you ever knew you wanted to be?
Yeah. So my dad was big on sirs and ma'ams, please and thank yous. And, when he would introduce me to his friends from the earliest of ages, it was, shake their hand, look them in the eye and say, nice to meet you, sir. And at that moment in my 8-year-old mind, the common denominator of every man that I had said sir to, besides understanding, my dad said it's respect for elders, which I understood. The common denominator was they were all dads. And I remember in my mind going, oh, that's when you've made it. Oh, that's when you're really a sir. That's when you've succeeded in life. And from that day forward, it was always clear to me, I want to be a father. That's the one thing I know I want to be. And now I am.
Is it because you get skin in the game in some way and kind of the greater narrative of the world? I mean, you're part of something that's been going on for however long.
Now I can explain it better now that I have children. I mean, the first thing is, in a way, father becomes immortal. A mother does too, in ways, but a parent becomes immortal. But in one way, there's an immortality in having children. On a very Darwin level, you have procreated. You've evolved the species. You're surviving. For me, that's like I said, that's when I felt like, now I've made it. Now everything else is number two. Everything else, the career is in second place. That's the most important thing. And that's the greatest thing that a man can leave behind is his children. Now, what kind of example are they going to be that they leave behind? Well, as parents, as a father, we have a lot to do with what kind of individuals they become. So that's why I have the reverence for fatherhood and always have. I think it's the job with the most responsibility of any in the world, and one that I think more of us could take more seriously more often.
Well, as somebody who just found out that he's going to be a father for the first time at the age of 45, what?
Yes.
What's the one piece of advice you'd give me?
Well, let me give you a couple here. One,
okay.
you're gonna learn that how much it's more DNA than you thought.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, right, but you'll see. I mean, that's the first one that got me. I was like, oh, they kind of are who they are. But here's the other thing, and I bring this up in the book. But man, when are you expecting?
May 1st.
All right, from May through January of 22. Any instincts you have, career-wise, investment-wise, relationship-wise, don't double down on them. Triple down on them. Man is never more masculine than right after the birth of their firstborn. And I don't mean macho. I mean clarity, where your head and your heart and your body, loins to your heels are going to be so synchronized that instinctually you're going to be so more tuned in. Man is never more tuned in to the right frequency than in that time right after his firstborn.
And you got your firstborn, Levi, was 2008?
8, yeah.
And so, the McConaissance, for lack of a better term, happened around 2010. So
yep,
you were shifting in there. You learned the power. Yeah, you learned the power of yes when you were young and applied that pretty well. But then you started using the power of no. I assume all that stuff was not a coincidence.
Not looking back. I mean, when we look back at the end of our lives, it all is the science looking back. The mystery's going forward. But no, looking back at that and going, hey, I'm going to take a sabbatical from the work I've been doing in rom-coms, which ended up being almost 2 years, to Camilla having Levi and us making our first child. That all is part and parcel with, a clarity that came to me and a confidence that came, an awareness too, that came to me at that time. Definitely. And look, having Levi immensely helped me get through that 2-year sabbatical I was on of not working, where I felt quite wobbly at times, well, quite insignificant at times. Having Levi and going, yeah, but you just achieved your dream. You've just become the one thing you always knew you wanted to be. I still needed my personal, a man still needs a personal thing to do, to accomplish and have something to look forward to and build every day outside of their family. But boy, that was something that I remember saying to myself, when you do get wobbly, or when you do, the days are taking too long, or when you do look over at the bottle a little too early in the day, look at your son and go, you cannot, there's no way to spend too much time loving that human right there, being the best father you can to that newborn human. And so it did help me keep an anchor during that time.